Well, Arsenal 5, Bournemouth 1, 8 consecutive Premier League victories at the Emirates Stadium. And this was a great night, plenty of fun, really good football, and some of the encouraging signs we've seen maybe since that disappointing Barté defeat all came home to roost tonight, and it was a really complete performance in a lot of ways. Where to begin? Let's start with the team selection. 6 changes again. I think credit's got to go to Unai Emery for the way he's managed to rotate the squad during this busy period. Kept the side strong, kept the side balanced, making changes all the time. The big change, of course, was in system. He switched to the back 3, which was not a popular switch, judging by the reaction on social media. I think it's an interesting phenomenon, isn't it? How much discussion and debate the lineup generates. It feels sometimes like people do formulate the narrative around the game based on that kind of hour where they have only that to talk about. I think the fact that he switched during the match to 4 at the back probably will generate less discussion, even though it's arguably a more interesting thing than the fact he started with 3. And I said when I saw the team line up with 3 centre-halves in it, I hope we go out and hope we batter Bournemouth tonight to sort of, if not put to bed, slightly quash this idea that 3 at the back is inherently negative, inherently defensive. I think the quality of the performance is decided by so many other factors than purely the formation. I wouldn't even say it's the governing thing. And I thought that we learnt that tonight. We'd scored 3 goals by the time we switched to the back 4. And I think, in fact, using the 2 formations tonight, to me, just shows that kind of fluidity, that kind of flexibility. It was a switch we made to counteract a switch Bournemouth made. They went man for man with us, went to a 3, and then we went to a 4, and they couldn't handle that. I think that is one of Emery's strengths, and I know maybe people find it disconcerting to continually see the system change. I'm not sure our players find it particularly disconcerting. I've never really particularly got the idea that there's a correlation between when we change the formation and when we play badly. I think there are other things at play. So there we go. We went 1-0 up. Mesut Özil, what a night for him. He came back into the side. I thought he was really, really excellent. I thought he did the hard work as well as those beautiful moments that he contributed to, particularly in the first half. That outstanding finish where he did that trick where he kicked the ball into the ground, it looped up over the keeper. Mesut, do that every time you shoot, because I can't remember a time where you did that and it didn't work. And I can remember plenty of other times where you went to shoot and didn't look the most natural finisher. So if you want to kick it into the ground every single time, that's absolutely fine by me. And his assist from Mkhitaryan was a thing of beauty, wasn't it? A little bit reminiscent to one of the goals he laid on for Aubameyang in that Leicester game that we've talked about so much this season. That Mesut Özil song, he's Arsene Wenger's man, he's better than Zidane, was ringing around the Emirates Stadium. We still say that he's Arsene Wenger's man. I don't think anyone's quite convinced he's Unai Emery's man. But this was a performance that certainly will have helped a lot in that regard. And, I remember one instance, particularly in the first half, he tracked back and won the ball in the right back spot. He helped Jenkinson out at times, supported him, combined well with him, gave him a bit of support on that flank, switched over to the other flank to good effect. It was just a really excellent performance from Özil. I think comparable with the one that he produced against Leicester. It's what we want to see from him all the time. It's what you kind of expect from him at home against this sort of opposition. It was a performance of such quality, and yet I'm not convinced it guarantees him a start against Spurs. But I think it shows he's got a big role to play between now and the end of the season. And hopefully him and Unai Emery have reached some kind of truce, some kind of accord that's going to allow that to be the case. I think a big shout out is due for Henrik Mkhitaryan. Scored a fantastic goal, I thought, at the weekend. Another goal tonight. Very productive. He's getting assists too. He's having a really good spell. And I thought the way he and Özil linked up tonight was very encouraging. I think he brings a lot of end product. And actually, I think, I've criticised him this season. And I've certainly said I'm not sure if his value against his pay packet. That may well still be the case. But I think he too has shown he's got a lot to offer between now and May and possibly beyond. He is a player who, maybe unlike Özil, I can see Emery picking almost every week, whether it's in a 4-2-3-1, 3-5-2, a diamond. I can see a role for Mkhitaryan. Emery really, really likes him, and he's absolutely one of his guys. Worth noting as well, there was a big save from Bernd Leno and an excellent clearance from Laurent Koscielny at 1-0. I think Leno's had a really good week in that respect, and that was a big moment for him. Strong hands. We conceded though, didn't we, just before half time, a mistake from Matteo Guendouzi. And look, he was caught on the ball. I think it was probably a foul, but he's rolled the dice with that many, many times this season. A lot of people have pointed that out. And, it's something he has to learn from. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I have to say, at 19, I think he probably will. And I'm not going to come down too hard on him because I think he has enormous bravery on the ball. And even before that moment, there were a couple of moments where he dropped in front of Bernd Leno and he was the guy saying, look, give me the ball, give me it to feet. I think a lot of us thought we'd see that from Lucas Torreira this season. We have to an extent, but he doesn't do it nearly as frequently as Guendouzi. There's a huge amount of responsibility placed on him, and I sort of think that if you play out from the back in that fashion, you have to accept every now and then you might get caught. It's like when you go short from goal kicks, you might get pressed, you might get caught. It is a calculated risk that you take, and in a game where you win 5-1, frankly, it's one you can afford to take. Let's hope it doesn't happen in a more important game, but I thought Guendouzi was, aside from that moment, absolutely excellent tonight. I thought there were certain driving, dribbling runs that are a new dimension to his game that we haven't really seen so much of. That ability to go past people, that burst. At times it was Wilshere-esque, Diaby-esque, a big stride, taking him away from people, 2 or 3 players at a time. We need that in our midfield. Xhaka can't do that. I don't even really think Torreira can do that. His legs aren't long enough for a start. So I was encouraged by that. I thought his passing was excellent. There was a wonderful ball over the top for Aubameyang, or no, Lacazette it was, which produced a brilliant save. I just think he deserves our faith, and I don't want that. There was a sense in the first half where every time he got the ball, the crowd sort of had that tension that they sometimes have when Petr Cech has the ball at his feet, or at times they've had it when Alex Iwobi's had the ball, that sort of apprehension, and you can feel it potentially inhibiting players. Well, I don't think Guendouzi's got a character where he's going to be inhibited by it, but I don't want to see that happen either, because I think this is a talented player who is really blossoming, and I think it's fantastic to watch. And I think it's interesting, I said that on Twitter actually, and a lot of people jumped back at me saying, you wouldn't be so understanding if it was Xhaka. And I thought, first of all, no, I wouldn't, because Xhaka's not a teenager. I don't necessarily expect him to make those kind of simplistic mistakes. But also, I think it's curious that we have this thing where, I think as fans, we sort of view perception of players all relative to each other. So if I say something nice about Guendouzi, it's like, well, you wouldn't say that nice about Xhaka. Or if you say something positive about Iwobi, or Iwobi has a bad game, it's sort of relative somehow to Mesut Özil. It's like, well, Özil would have done better. It's like we have to just assess players, I think, on an individual basis, and also look at a bigger picture and what that means for the team and what it means for the squad moving forward. I can tell, by the way, some of you are going to be absolutely furious about how that blind is not level. For all the kind of people who that will trouble, there it is, look at it. Oh, it's painful, it's painful, it's painful. You've all unsubscribed. Now we're back. Okay, so Guendouzi. I like Guendouzi. Players tell you who they think is good. These players think Guendouzi's good. Watch how Mesut Özil gives him the ball. How frequently he looks from the pass. They play 1-2s. If a player of Özil's technical quality knows Guendouzi's up to something, you've got something there. The third goal, what was it? I can't remember. Koscielny. Koscielny, yes, just about crossed the line. Look, he's good in both penalty boxes. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear his injury at the end is too serious, so that's great because we're definitely going to need him in the North London derby. And I thought that after that third goal, there was a real huddle. I don't know if the TV cameras captured it, but the players all joined together in a huddle, like they used to do in the old Invincibles days, really. And it felt like a team who are focused, have a renewed focus, a renewed determination to do something this season, and I found that encouraging. 4-1 was Aubameyang, delighted for him to get his goal at last. Credit again to Mkhitaryan. Lovely to see how much we broke with the ball effectively. I thought we were really good in transition tonight. Created some excellent chances. Let's not forget Özil hit the post as well. Lacazette's free kick, I need to watch it again, but the assistant manager, Juan Carlos, was really talking to the Arsenal players about what they should do in the wall. He was like, make sure you get in the wall. I think he said, hang on, I'm watching it now. You don't need to hear the volume. He was very keen that the Arsenal players do something in the wall. I think he said put 3 or 4 in the wall. They did that. And yes, Socrates disperses the wall and Lacazette's shot goes through. So, and then afterwards the assistant manager was sort of like, well, I told you so. I like that. I like that sort of attention to detail. He's obviously the set piece guy. Anyway, this has been 10 minutes. I better wrap up. It's fun to talk about wins, isn't it? Last time we won 5-1. I made this point on Twitter. But certain fans at the game were singing, "We've got our Arsenal back." That was premature. But I do feel like tonight and at the weekend, and even the game, second leg against Barté, there have been signs that Unai Emery is getting his Arsenal back. I think his idea of what he thinks this team should play like, that sort of combination of good attacking football, especially in transition, but with hard work and a solid base behind it. I think we are seeing that again. I think it feels like we are making progress again. How much of that is to do with the fact that we've got our squad back and we're able to rotate and keep players fresh and field a full strength team, hopefully, at the weekend against Spurs, minus the long-term injuries. I think that's definitely a big factor. But it feels like we've turned a little bit of a corner in terms of the quality of our performances. And at a good time. The results didn't go our way tonight. United got a very good win at Palace. I think in terms of our league position, it probably would have been more helpful for Spurs to beat Chelsea. I think in terms of our top 4 chances. And I would have loved a draw. But Spurs are wobbling a bit. 2 consecutive defeats. Good time to go there for a North London derby. We're flying high. Tottenham Hotspur, maybe we're coming for you. All right, guys. Bye.